2006. This is the start of an interview with Mr. Ernest Cole at the Macomb Catholic Services located at 15945 Canal Road, Clinton Township. Mr. Cole is 82, born on the 3rd day of March 1924.
Correct.
And he resides at 3317 Washman in Warren, Michigan.
Correct.
My name is Dave Brousseau, and I will be the interviewer, and Mr. Steve Lutz will be the videographer. Ernie, would you state for the record the branch of service that you serve?
U.S. Army Air Force.
Okay. Ernie, let's go back a little bit and give us a kind of a capsule of telling us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And how did you end up in the service?
Okay. When do you want me to start?
Right now.
Good enough. Okay, I was born in Detroit. We already had that, 1924.
Okay.
And we moved out to Warren in 1936. And went to Lincoln High School. Fitzgerald first, but it wasn't called Fitzgerald. I forget what name it was.
Van Dyke, Lincoln?
Yeah, that's where I went, graduated from there, Van Dyke, Lincoln. And what else do you want beyond?
How did you happen to get into the service?
Well, I was drafted into the service, but I didn't have a real good choice there. You either were going to be drafted or you could volunteer. And being I had a background in mechanics, they sent me to, well, for basic training, after basic training, to Air Force mechanic school.
Now, this background must have been something you got after high school that you went
Yes,
into?
correct.
Okay. How long were you working in aircraft maintenance?
Oh, about a year.
About a year. All right. How did you end up in the Air Force as opposed to some other branch?
Well, when I was drafted in there, when I was working on the airplanes at Detroit City Airport, where this took place, they when I got in, in the regular Army, they I'm lost for words now.
That's okay. You were told, weren't you, that
Oh yeah.
use
yeah.
your
use
your background, that they may
exactly.
choose to put you where your
That's
choice
right.
was, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To the aircraft maintenance, your boot was right here in Detroit, where you went to boot camp?
No, not really. My boot camp was at Keesler Field.
Where is that located?
Mississippi, Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay, okay. So when you enlisted, or when you were drafted, you went to Fort Custer first, and then you went to
Correct. That
boot
is
camp
correct.
in Biloxi.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, now, can you tell us anything about your experience at boot camp?
Oh,
Do you remember anything?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of KP and. Yeah, KP and hurry up and wait and
Yeah, okay.
things of that nature. No unpleasant,
But just a basic boot camp.
just a basic boot camp, yeah.
All right, after,
Learn to say yes sir, no sir.
mhm. Any particular friends you made while you were there?
Yeah, we made one good friend, you know, 2 or 3 good friends. You know, but the one, when we were in boot camp, he decided, well, we were on KP that day, and we seen some airplanes flying over. This is at boot camp, and he said, you know, we should get into the Air Force. We are in it now, but we should get in a pilot training program, you know. I said, oh, we can't do that, because you got to have 2 years of college. And he said, no, they found out that if you pass this written test and that, they were running out of pilots, so they couldn't find enough people with 2 years minimum college. So
Now we need to keep in mind that you were drafted, this is February 1943, so the war was well underway, and
oh yes,
the need for pilots were obvious at that point. Okay.
so anyway, he said he talked me into signing up. They had a notice on the bulletin board there to sign there if you wanted to get in for pilot training. You go and take the cadet program. And he said, not only that, it'll get us off KP anyway, which was a plus. So then from there, they sent me to Chattanooga, Tennessee, University of Chattanooga, Tennessee, for a course in it was almost 6 months. That was general education, everything, plus military protocol.
Any of that involved in preparing you for flight school?
No, not too much, except for examinations and that. You have to go
Okay, then where did you go from there?
from Chattanooga,
Yeah,
Orangeburg, South Carolina. That was for actual flight training. That was where I soloed and flew the BT-17, which I have a picture of, by the way. And
is that a single wing or a?
no, it was a biplane. Looked like my kids used to. It looks like the Red Baron, you know, from World War One. And anyway, did the flight training. I didn't have much problem in the air. I could do just everything I did that they were supposed to do. But I had difficulty landing, and I damaged 2 or 3 airplanes in landing. Not minor landing, it was ground loop and busted landing gear on one. And anyway, they said this
Depth perception?
depth perception was a little bit off, and so he said, well, they qualified for flight training on a bomber crew, you know. So that's when I was eliminated for the pilot training. They sent me to another school, the aerial gunnery school. I was in Casper, Wyoming, and that's where we actually took on the B-24s gunnery training, and where they assigned us crew. We got the pilot, co-pilot, navigator, radio man, engineer, and so forth, and gunners. And let's see, maybe I'm getting behind here.
Yeah, okay.
Where are we at now? What?
Did you move from gunnery to bomber?
Yeah, yeah.
Or did you,
Yeah.
were you required to do both?
State that one over again. I didn't get it exactly.
You were in the gunnery
Yeah.
group.
yeah.
How
Okay.
did you get to the bomber?
Oh, well, we were assigned a group, the pilots, and nobody knew everybody then. We formed groups, and then we flew uh, bombing missions in the States here, you know. I mean, for training. Like from Casper, Wyoming, we went to, we had a bombing run to Omaha and back again and stuff like that. That was
Okay.
that was shortly before we were sent overseas.
Mhm. Okay, and your aircraft was the B-24 exclusively?
Correct.
Was there something unique about the 24 versus the 17?
Yeah, they were the the B-17s, the flyers that were on them. You said the B-24 is such an ugly looking airplane that it looked like the crate that the 17s came in, you know. But it was a little better airplane than 17.
Mm-hmm.
It had a little longer range, uh, could carry a little heavier bomb load. Uh,
How big was the crew?
10-man crew.
10?
Yeah.
Now, how much time has lapsed since you enlisted? About a year?
Oh yeah.
So all of this schooling and
Yeah.
training.
Yeah, it's paying off now. Yeah, correct.
So now, a year later, you're now shipped to England.
Correct. Yeah, we were assigned to a crew. We worked as a crew in Casper, Wyoming,
How did they get you over there?
on the L du France. It was a old converted luxury liner that was converted to a troop ship.
Seems somewhere in our careers we all have to take that ship over there. And was there any?
Well, there was another route there. There's two other air routes there, but we were assigned to a small group that went by boat. I don't know why that ever was, but most of the other air crews flew over.
There must have been a risk at that time in the war from enemy submarines, U-boats.
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, first day out, I was talking to another guy, and it says another GI that was together, and I asked him, I says, "Where's our escort at?" You know, he said, "We don't have any." And he said, "The L du France is supposed to be faster. That it takes a sub too long to get a bearing on us, and this thing zigzags all the way across." That didn't make me feel too good.
All right, so now you're in England. What's the role or your activities now that you're in England?
Okay, we were assigned to a bomb group, the 392nd Bomber Group, which was at Wendling, England. It's a small town near Norwich. It was a bigger city.
This is pre-invasion time.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And then we flew missions out of, flew 15 missions altogether there.
Do you have a number of missions before you can be shipped back home?
Yes, yeah. 15 was the magic number. So we just got to 15, but that's where the trouble began, was on the 15th mission. And it was actually in support of the Rhine River crossing, and it was mostly a supply mission. And on our last mission, we were dropping supplies out to GIs but that area apparently something went wrong because they were shooting at us as they're coming over. Radio operator said, "Look, them SOBs are shooting at us." We found out, that small sector there hadn't been completely stabilized yet. So.
Now, when you flew out of England, how far did you fly? How far do your missions take you?
Oh, clear, almost to Berlin. Near the end there, most of them were, in hours would be anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mission there and back. And some of it was with the fighter escort, and some of them we didn't have the escort.
So you had kind of a combination of the fighterless non-escort time, and then eventually they.
Yeah.
But even at that, those fighters couldn't go very far, could they?
No, correct. They didn't have the range that the bombers had.
So that was even pre-P-51 time.
Correct.
Toward the end of your 15 missions, were the P-51s involved then with you as escorts?
Not on our airplane, but on some of them. We never actually had them on our escorts. Possibly that we might have one or two, but most of the missions were without the fighters, because at that stage of the game, the Luftwaffe was not a real threat.
You had dominance of the air at that time, then.
That's right. All except for the anti-aircraft was extremely heavy. Other than that, we didn't have too much trouble with the Luftwaffe at that particular time.
This must have been toward the end of your 15 missions.
Correct.
What's it like in the air like that, and having people pot-shotting at you? And
well, it's nerve-wracking,
I imagine.
and just the getting there is, well, like they used to say, a lot of boredom and with a few punctuations of dead fever.
What do you do in 6 to 8 hours trying to get to your mission site?
I was a flight engineer, and I flew in a top turret, and you stayed in there watching, because there still was fighters, but not wasn't where they weren't a treacherous, weren't much danger to us, the fighters, although you still stayed in your position. The radio operator would be in his radio, the two waist gunners would be in position, tail gunner would be in condition, or position rather. And
Do you ever have any kind of competition between the gunners to see who could bring down more enemy aircraft?
well, it may have turned, probably the end results were that way, but we didn't really plan it.
Mhm.
It's just what they call, you're supposed to shoot a few rounds and let the barrel cool off a little bit more, but when you get in that position, you just lock in on it and burn out machine gun barrels and everything else.
So you could literally burn off a barrel, eh?
Yes, you could if you held it, full.
Hmm.
But that was, we just did it more in short bursts, really. So.
And there are tracers so you can see where you're going?
How's that again now?
Do you have tracers?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So you can see
Yeah.
where you're going?
Correct. I think it was every fifth round was a tracer. You could tell where it was. Yeah.
Did you ever bring one down?
Not that we know of.
He came down.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, I know what she was questioning. We did the 15th mission. It was actually a supply mission. We're dropping, that's like I told you prior to that, that we're unloading supplies to it. But at a very low altitude, about 25, 30 feet. Very, very close to the ground, throwing them out. And our radio operator, that's when he said, hey, look, them guys there, SOBs, they're shooting at us, you know. By that time he did, he got shot right through the upper leg. And one of the waist gunners got shot at an arm. And I had a bullet hole just about 6 inches from my head there. In the turret. And we were on our, as soon as we unloaded that, we gained altitude, start on our trip back to England. And we had all the engines, and we nursed one of them a little bit, but we got them back pretty good. And we coming in for a landing at the air base there. I think it's the name of the air base, Wendling. And we come in for that. The pilot made one contact to the, before, that was one of my, getting ahead of myself, one of the duties of the engineer was to, you had wounded or damage that would prevent you from landing, getting in the pattern and all that. You had what they call a very pistol that shot flares. So, and the pilot told me, says, already get on there and shoot as many flares as you can. So we're coming in for a landing back in England. And we made the touchdown. We only had what they call one application of the brakes because it was through an accumulator. When that was discharged, we had no brakes. And we had a lot of runway, not a lot of runway left. And got to the end, and another duty of the engineer was to start up the APU, it's auxiliary power unit, which is a little gasoline powered engine, something like a lawnmower today. But that had a big generator on it, and that supplied electricity to the other 4 engines, because upon landing we would taxi around, and you'd only use the 2 outboard engines for maneuvering, and they weren't generating enough electricity to keep the batteries up. So that's why we started that APU, auxiliary power unit, to have electricity. Anyway, I was starting that up, and the next thing I know, there was a tremendous noise, and noticed the nose wheel came rolling right by me. And parts of the airplane flying around, and I'm climbing out under what they call under the deck, and I'm crawling out of there. The co-pilot looked over and he says, "I never thought I'd see you come out of there alive." He said the airplane was completely tore off on the bottom, as you can see in this little picture.
This is the picture of the aircraft he just referred to that had made that landing. This must have been a very harrowing experience to the belly gunner.
Yes, it would be very extreme.
Now, obviously, you didn't.
But the 24, they could. The belly gunner, he wasn't trapped in there like on the 17.
Okay.
He could. In fact, he none of them got hurt at all except for the radio operator and one of the waist gunners.
Your wheels must have stayed down, right?
Oh yeah.
Other than the nose wheel?
Yeah, the main, well, no, after the pilot tried to ground loop it, well, we just went right off the end of the runway.
Mhm.
There was nothing but farmland there,
Mhm.
fences and posts and trees and everything.
What'd you feel like at that moment as that was all going on? Did you have any time to think?
Didn't have time to think, it was just,
This happened too quick?
yeah, I happened to be in a good spot close to the APU and it wiped that out, the nose wheel coming back.
What'd you think about it afterwards when you looked at that picture?
We headed for a big slug of booze that they gave us.
Now that was mission number 15?
Yes, correct.
Amazing.
The last one.
Now did they re-up your mission requirements or was that it?
No, that was we had another bombing mission, but it was actually of course it wasn't the same airplane. That one was completely destroyed. We had signed another airplane, another B-24, and I don't know, we flew any more after that or not. No, I don't think so, because we were getting ready to with that, but the European war was winding down,
Uh-huh.
and that's when we quit flying combat. And it was,
So at the time of your 15th mission, it must have been 1945,
correct.
and things were starting to hunker down a little bit.
Oh yeah, oh definitely.
Um, what was your sense of feeling after the 15th mission? I imagine there's a lot of anticipation building
Oh yeah.
as you go through, because not a lot of those people over there, those folks made it through there.
Oh, a lot of them didn't. Yeah.
Some of those people had lucky charms, and
Yeah.
did you have any?
Yeah, ring here, still got it. It was an Air Force ring, but with the wing propeller. You can't see it now because it's all wore out, because I refused to take it off.
So that was your
That was
lucky,
my lucky charm.
your lucky charm, huh?
Correct.
When you took these trips, these missions,
Uh-huh.
how do you, your sense of feeling about dropping bombs,
Well, yeah, that was, uh, we never thought too much about civilians and that, because all our targets were military targets, or manufacturing centers, oil refineries, things of that nature, plus military establishments.
but the accuracy at that time was probably not good.
Not very good, no. That's what, in fact, we never even flew with a bombardier at that time, at that period, because they're used a nose gunner to watch the lead airplane in the formation. And as soon as that first bomb went out, all the other nose gunners or whatever station they happened to be in salvaged the bomb. So they kept their eye on the lead airplane.
And that was the indicator everybody to drop their load.
Exactly. That's right.
Other than this occasion of having some difficulty, were you ever in trouble in the 15 missions?
Oh yeah, we had one fighter, one ME-109 that shot us up pretty, not real bad, but did hit our airplane, but not enough to disable it. And probably actually would be more afraid of was forming when you got your assignment early in the morning, get out to the airplane, climb aboard, and take off. And there, in England at that particular time, you had a lot of air bases all over the place. You could find, plus the fact that the RAF was in on it too, the Royal Air Force. And I was afraid of mid-air collisions more than being shot by the enemy, really.
How big, in a mission, how many planes might be in a mission?
Well, about 15 in one group. A lot of them, near the end of the war, we had, I would say there maybe you'd have 40 or 50 spread out all over the place. But normally we were in a smaller group.
And you always had your area, you're gonna hit this, and if it's clouded over, you're gonna have a couple of alternatives.
Alternatives, correct. That's correct.
Were you ever able to know just what kind of damage you did when you got back, as to whether it was successful?
Yeah, there was a time there when we got back and the European war was officially over. We had what you call sightseeing missions, where some of the top brass or the ground people that didn't get a chance to take them on the bomber, take them for a short ride over, point out different things.
But when you are on the mission, you completed your drop and then came back. There was never a meeting that said, well, it was successful or not, or.
Well, yeah, there was a
Okay.
they briefed us after. First thing you did after you hit the runway, they come out there and give you a shot of whiskey. And no, they had all the missions were briefed, before and after it came back. They would,
How did you know what kind of damage you did? Were they taking movies?
Only when we took
pictures?
Pictures, yeah. Plus flying at a low altitude, you could see with your naked eye. You could see a lot of damage what was done.
Were there any of those 15 you would consider more memorable than another, or?
Well, other than the last one, yeah, most of them were not that bad. Of course, every one up was you were people trying to shoot you down.
Mm-hmm. You're in a small group, and you probably are closer to this group than any of the others.
Yeah, that's true.
What's it like? What did it make you feel like when you lost buddies?
Oh, it felt bad. Yeah, no way you could mask that. That was, and there was some of our good friends they never came back. Go out in the morning and that was the last. They either ended up as prisoners of war or the airplane crashed.
Did you have any time off during those 15 missions?
Oh yeah.
So you had time to
We had time. Yeah.
see England a bit?
Pardon?
Time to see England? And
Oh yes, yeah. After so many missions, we had called a 72-hour pass, 3-day pass, and of course everybody headed to London. Maybe I was a unique one because one of the 15 passes I had, I visited the town where my mother was born, Bath, England, and I've seen relatives that I'd never seen before, aunts and uncles. That was in Bath, England. That was on one of the 3-day passes.
Mm-hmm. What was your group's role in the D-Day invasion?
Uh, dropping supplies mostly.
Into those landing areas?
Yes, correct.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Oh, email, letters I had at that time, mostly letters. That was about it.
Was it difficult to be away from home for such a long period of time?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I wasn't away from home all that time. In between class,
Your
different
training period?
training period. Yeah, we got a overnight pass, or if it's near there or something, or 2 or 3 day pass, something like that. But in England, it was every so often you got a 3 day, 72-hour pass that comes.
That wouldn't let you get very far, would it?
Well, you get to London.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 days, that's it.
Do you remember feeling any kind of stress or?
Oh yeah, you'd be kind of tightened up.
I suppose each time you came back and another buddy you knew didn't come back, or another group
Another airplane.
add a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you'd feel. You really didn't want to get involved with them too closely, because you never knew if they were. That happened a couple of 2 or 3 times, and good friends were lost.
So I imagine there's some hesitancy to form deeper relationships just because
Yeah.
it's hard to.
Really, yeah. Like in the morning, we had pretty good sleeping quarters there. We had the Quonset huts and 4, maybe 3 or 4 groups in a hut. And the enlisted men, the officers had their, but you didn't want to get too close to them, like you say, too just high this and that, because it was quite possible, and it did happen sometimes, that they never came back from a mission.
What was your form of entertainment
Well,
other than the 3-day passes?
they had a lot of movies, a movie theater on the base, and they had held dances, and bring the girls from town in, and Deuce and a Half Army truck.
How did that?
Plus you had baseball and stuff like that, but not enough to form regular games or anything like that. But
Something to get your mind off of.
exactly, got it.
How did the women entertainment affect your relationship with the men back in London? Was there any resentment because you American flyboys were stealing your women?
Oh yes, definitely. I see what you mean now. The British, yeah, like the old saying was that they're overpaid, oversexed, and over here.
Yeah.
Which was true.
Yeah. Did you ever have a chance to see one of those entertainment groups that came over from the
Oh yeah,
States?
Yeah. None of the real big name stars like. I can't think of any real. But they were entertaining groups. Put on a little show, and musical instruments, stuff like that.
So you never got a chance to see Bob Hope, huh?
No, he was there, but not at the time we were Yeah. Yeah, he was in our base one time that I remember, but we uh, weren't there at that time. That was before we were assigned there.
Oh, I see.
In other words, they tell us all the, this where the theater here where Bob Hope
Uh-huh.
entertained us. It was just a big hangar. That's all really.
Yeah. What did the enlisted men think of the officers generally?
Well, that would be a two-pronged question, I guess. If the flyers, we were all close. We were buddies. But some of the ground people didn't like the officers too much.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about combat roles they played, but all in our phase of it, with the Air Force, we were real good buddies.
A lot closer.
Oh yeah, a lot closer because your life is with a good pilot there. Or we all had a
Yeah.
good job to do that we had to do.
It was sort of group on group rather than officer enlisted.
Yeah, really. Yeah, yeah.
Any lasting relationships that existed after the war that you were
Oh, on
able
our
to
crew,
make?
yeah. Most of we corresponded mostly with the crew. One, our pilot, when he got out, he joined the Air National Guard. I think it was the Arizona Air National Guard, and trying to think what he did. Oh, I know it. Air National Guard. Then he lost that track again. Air National Guard, and he went into pilot training for commercial fighter. That's what he was doing, commercial. And once in a great while, he'd get a flight in to Detroit here.
Metro?
Metro, yeah. And when he did, he knew about it. He let us know, and me and the wife would go down and meet him there at the Rensen at that time. But unfortunately, he died when he was it was a commercial airline. They're 60. You're all done with. I mean, you could fly a private airplane, but not a commercial. Mm-hmm. And when he reached 60, soon after that, he died.
Hmm.
And I kept in touch with tail gunner. In fact, he's seen each other a few times. He lives in Pennsylvania.
Are any of the others alive yet?
I haven't heard from any in quite a while now, except one tail gunner.
Okay, you didn't set up a annual reunion?
No, nothing organized or anything. It's just.
What was the status again of the war at the time that you finished your 15th mission? Just wrapping up, kind of
Yes.
idling down?
Oh, yes.
What happened to you now? It's 15th mission. Did you get shipped home right away, or?
Yes, actually, very, very soon after the European War ended, they gave our crew a brand spanking new B-24, never been in combat, to fly back to the States. We flew back on the northern route, Iceland, Greenland, Newfoundland, or Windsor Locks, Connecticut. That's where we ended up with the brand new airplane, plus 10 ground people. We had 20 passengers, 20 people in the airplane. And lost track of where we were at.
That must have been quite an exciting trip to finally take a plane where no one's taking pot shots at you.
Correct. Yeah, made a big difference.
So you mustered out then?
Yeah. So, well, as soon as we got to Windsor Locks, Connecticut, we landed there and got out of the brand new airplane and took over to the mess hall. And they wrote us a 30-day R&R, rest and recuperation thing right from there. And
so you were officially out of the service?
no, not at that time. We had the we had the 3-day or
30-day.
30-day R&R, and then we reported. This is kind of a little unusual too. We were, in my particular case, it was to report to Romulus Army Air Base. A lot of people don't know that Metro is Romulus Army Air Base, and that's where they sent me and another guy from Detroit, but he was ground personnel, and we got to
Is that what it was called then, Romulus?
yeah, we got to the Romulus, and then
Is that where you mustered out then?
no, that's just another odd thing about it too. We were sent there to be mustered out, but when we got there, all there was a small MP detachment. And this was around Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was just before Thanksgiving, and the officer in charge, his second lieutenant, in command of the base there, he wrote us out a pass, go home, come back the day after Thanksgiving, and we'll send you down to Patterson Field, Dayton, Ohio, for mustering out. That was the end of the line there.
How did you get from, what was it, Connecticut, you said?
Uh-huh.
Down to Detroit?
Bus.
Bus?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The Greyhound.
Oh jeez.
Well, we were happy to get out anything.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
I'm sure at that point, after muster, you're kind of feeling relieved. And
Oh yeah.
was there any talk of sending some of you to the Pacific?
No, not at that particular time. No. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Take that back. There was a lot of talk, and we were sent from our B-24 training. We were sent to somewhere on the west coast for training on the B-29s. We were going to train on B-29s for the Japanese war, but fortunately it ended before we got there. And that's where I was sent from there to met at the airport at
Romulus?
Romulus, that's the one I'm trying to think of. Yeah, sent there.
Don't tell me you had to bust that one too.
Yeah. No. No, that was by rail.
Oh, not sure which is worse.
Oh, the train was nice. It was.
You said something to me earlier about the good part of flying B-24s. What was that?
Oh, it had a little better, bigger range, a little larger range. could carry a slightly heavier bond load.
There was something that was good about it. You remember telling me that?
Well, yeah, okay. The B-17 cruise, that's the glamour airplane.
Mm-hmm.
They said the 24 was the crate that the 17 was shipped in.
Well, you told me also that the food was better.
What do you mean, in the military or?
Well, I
in
asked
the Air
you,
Force,
you
or-
said there's one good thing about flying the
Oh,
B-24. You said the food was better, and I couldn't
yeah.
imagine have anything good about flying one of those things, but I guess the living accommodations were probably more closely aligned to what you would be at home, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
more of a
Not like the infantry
routine.
or ground people. They just had to sleep in the mud and everything else, rain
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Whereas we had Quonset huts to sleep in. A little better food, I think, than most of the other services.
So I imagine, could you say that your living accommodations and life are probably fairly accurately depicted in the war movies we've seen from time to time?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I would say so. There was, a couple of good airplane movies. Jimmy Stewart, by the way, was a B-17 pilot.
What kind of information did you get in the European theater about what was going on over in the Pacific? Was that something you could stay up with, or?
Oh, yeah, the Yank, or the Yank publication was always pretty, telling you pretty well what's going on.
That was not very current though, was it?
No, there was Yank, and then there was, I forget the name of the other one.
That just circulated among the,
Yeah, it was a strictly military publication.
and I suppose they only told you what they wanted you to know.
More than likely.
Did you receive any medals?
Yeah, quite a few.
What were they for?
Just for being a good boy, I guess. The Good Conduct Medal, the European Theater Medal, Good Conduct Medal, the European Theater, I might have mentioned that.
When you finish your 15 missions, do you get a medal for that too?
No. Oh, yeah, air medal, yeah, that's right, got the air medal.
Now, all during this experience in the war, you were single at that point?
Correct, yeah.
You muster out. Now what happens to Ernest?
Well, I went back to school for a little bit, and
Where did you go to school?
Fitzgerald.
Oh, you hadn't finished high school yet?
No.
Boy.
So I finished that up, and then good to be home, and
So you didn't use the GI Bill to go on to college?
no.
Why not? Just
Uh,
that's the way it was?
yeah, the way it was, and getting married then.
So was this a childhood sweetheart or somebody you met after you got home?
Childhood one.
Okay.
We corresponded together.
Is your other family still alive at that point when you got home? Your mom and dad and?
Oh, yes, yeah. All my sister and
Imagine they were very glad to get you
yeah.
home.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So where did you go to work at that point?
Oh,
Were jobs easy to find?
no, Not that easy. I got a job at Plymouth Motors right here in Detroit. Uh, then I did, when I was I went to electrical school at the same time I was going to working at Plymouth Motors. Then I got married and that's about it.
So you stayed at Plymouth?
No, not too long. No, got out of there and got into machine building and worked for Snyder Corporation right here in Detroit.
Any of your experiences in the service prepare you for your life afterwards?
Not a whole lot, really. Just appreciate things better, more than.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So the training that you got probably wasn't something you could use directly when you got out.
No, that's right. Yeah. No.
But I suppose indirectly,
Oh,
you had a lot of machinery you dealt with that might have had something to do
Oh
with.
yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. We're working on the aircraft before I went in,
Uh-huh.
and that was a good. Again, even though it wasn't working with aircraft, it was machine building.
Do you think your stint in the service did anything for you after?
Oh, I think it made it better appreciate things a lot more, definitely.
Do you remember these experiences often, or?
Oh yes, yeah, mostly all the time.
It's not something you forget very quickly, is it?
No. No, I forget now quite a bit. There's a lapse of memory there. It comes and goes.
Any other significant events? Any other, I don't think you have any other pictures to show us, or?
No, just.
Oh, here's, okay,
Bomber
this is
crew.
good.
That's a bomber crew.
See if we can get this. Now, is this your original crew, or is
That's
just,
our original crew. That's the ones, ones we flew together, all the missions. And,
how many of these finished with you
uh,
at the end of 15 missions? Were they pretty much all intact?
oh yeah, well the radio operator, he was wounded pretty bad through his upper leg, and one of the waist gunners. But yeah, they were disabled.
Have you ever traveled back there to England to see?
No, I haven't. I would have liked to have several times, but just couldn't get it time off or whatever. Get married, kids come along.
I don't imagine that you would probably even recognize some of those farms that were converted into air bases and
No, there'd be
all grown over and.
correct. Yeah, yeah, the Quonset huts and all that. Even the control towers would be all gone. They had an awful lot of air bases over there in a small area in the southeast section of England.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, like the old saying, when I get home, I'll think of about a dozen things.
You have something there that you need to fill out for us if you think of any of those things you think you want, you can certainly put them on that when you send it back.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Ernest. I appreciate your time here and,
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
and for sharing this with us.
See the big one. There's that's the one I wanted you to show.
Oh, yeah,
That's the one I wanted you to show.
there's a good one of the crew.
Damn, I can't find him. Well, I'll be darned. Boy, what a stud.
Oh yeah.
That's my fiance.
She said, "Oh yeah."
I'll be darned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Actually, we didn't fly a full 10-man crew. The bombardier, at that particular part of the phase of it, he was assigned to.
So
Right, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
a lot of young